team is responsible for designing and figuring out the user interface across all the devices we're on. Like, how do you navigate on Netflix on a touch screen versus on a TV with a left, right, up, down remote versus on a laptop with a mouse and keyboard? How do you design the experience? How do you design all the assets? How do we pick the right images for you, me, her versus Ant-Man versus abstract, the art of design? How do we pick the preview videos and how do we cut them together to pick the right ones so you can understand quickly what the content is on Netflix? So that's the whole surface of Netflix. That's the way what you see in all these devices. And we're also responsible for what's underneath. All the algorithms around the big data that helps decide that for this particular member, we have lots of recently added titles. Maybe there's 50 the last week or two. How did we decide to put Jurassic World first for this person, whereas on when I go to Netflix, it might be the 20th title shown? So that's the algorithm side, that's the personalization discovery side of Netflix. But today, at Mobile World Congress, which we're happy to be at, we're going to be focusing on when you hit play on Netflix, how do we give the best picture we can? On a mobile device, how do we get the best experience for your video quality on a mobile device? We're going to focus on that. In January of last year, we launched in 130 more countries, including India and the Philippines and many other countries. And what we've noticed about these countries is mobile's important in the rest of the world. It's even more important in these countries. In fact, in many Asian countries, we're seeing a lot more streaming on mobile devices than other places in the world. We have these custom made according to our specifications, and we build all the software on these things. And what they're doing is these boxes are taking our content closer to the consumer. So what we do is we offer a program where for free, we purchase these boxes, we build them, and we go to local ISPs, and for those internet service providers, we tell them, we'll put this in, you don't have to do anything. The advantage to you is we're taking a lot of weight off the internet because it doesn't have to go through the whole internet to get to someone's home. We're going to put this very close to where they are. And so it's a big advantage, and then thus the Netflix consumer is going to get higher quality and a better picture, less latency. Why that's good for us, we're a subscription service. The better we can make that, the better it's going to go. And now you can download to a card like this in your phone. So obviously you can put in more titles. And so that was downloading, and that was important. What's the best quality you can get? Even if you have low bandwidth, even if you're struggling to get enough bandwidth to get video, can we go on a super low bandwidth and have continual video that doesn't rebuffer and has higher quality?
So before I joined Netflix, I actually worked for 4 years in an underground physics laboratory, doing high-energy physics, in particular what is called cosmic ray detection, which means muons and neutrinos.
And so I asked them, how does it compare trying to get great video quality for Netflix customers versus trying to find neutrinos in this pretty much the highest tech place in the world? And this is what he told me.
So I was telling Todd that this is very much a challenge because you have this wide variety of content, from simple to complex, and then you have all these devices like a phone or a big screen or a tablet or a computer, and you have all these users that will have different requirements and different levels, so you have to make everybody happy, and that's a very tough challenge. And it's actually more fun to watch video, right? So at the end of the day I said, I prefer this. This is more challenging.
For years we've been using adaptive streaming, which is we detect what your bandwidth is and we'll give you the appropriate encode for that. The next step off that to get even better is we did something called title level encoding. Let me explain. So traditionally, if you wanted to do an encode for high definition, you would figure out this is high definition and then you use the same encode, the same number of bits for every piece of content. It didn't matter if that content was a huge $100 million action film with people jumping off skyscrapers and monsters crushing through a whole city, or if it was a simple animated cartoon like the Netflix original BoJack Horseman, which is just about a drunk horse, and it's a very simple animation. It's very funny, but it's a very simple animation, and it doesn't require a lot of bits. And that's kind of ridiculous, because what we realized is we can offer Bojack in high definition for a lot fewer bits. We don't have to encode it with all those bits. And if you can do that, someone with lower bandwidth, and it doesn't matter, you can say high definition, standard definition, even substandard definition, whatever the level you're at, we can do it in fewer bits for certain titles. And so maybe a drama would be here, animated would be here, maybe a big action thing would be here. So on a title level, we started encoding differently, which was giving people better quality with lower bandwidth. So what an internal slogan, what we say, and the goal is, we want to get bigger bang for our bits. No matter what you have bits, we want to give you the best picture we can. So it started with title level, but then title level is interesting, because there's a cartoon we have, as an example, called Barbie. It's based on this American doll, and they have a whole, you know Barbie.
Yeah. My daughters have several of them.
There we go. So your daughters might have even seen. So there's one Barbie cartoon where it's like Bojack, simple animation, but there's one part, one small part, where all this glitter and shiny things she's spreading through and keep everything happy. There was a lot of visual information in that one bit, one part of that program. So what we had to do is we had to encode it as if it was a big action movie, even though it was a cartoon, because you have to take the worst case and for that scene. And that was really annoying. So then it occurred to us, based on inspired by Barbie herself, the doll that your daughters have, what if we didn't do it at a title level? What if we did it every single shot was differently? So that big shot when she's going and spreading the glitter, we can just use more bits for that, but that's it, and the rest would be down here. But first, to make that possible and more flexible, we needed a new codec. We needed a different kind of platform or system. And so Google offered something open source called VP9, and that enabled us to try something new, and also gave us a better picture with less bandwidth. What we figured out by using this new codec, VP9, and combining it with shot-by-shot, encoding different bits, we can basically get a much sharper picture at, this is 100 kilobits per second, how much it needs for the video. You have to add around 40 for the audio, and then add a little bit more for safety. So if in your home you're getting, or out in the world when you're watching, you're getting 200 kilobits per second, you can get a picture that doesn't stop, and now it's much sharper than it used to be. You hit a point eventually where it doesn't matter. So now you have to go to the next step, which is those dots are pixels. If you can do something with those pixels to do them in a different way, maybe you can increase the quality that way. And so HDR are pixels that are made for much better range when it comes to colors. Especially in dark and very bright situations, you get much better colors. We have a whole bunch of content, and we're building more and more to allow for HDR. So when LG releases a phone like this, look at the color of his face versus his. HDR, it's just much richer, much more human looking. That looks like more pasted, whiter, not as interesting. So it's even the blue shirt, everything is richer, the colors are better.